What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. It was brought up in the playback tonight that it feels like Indy doesn't have that guy down the stretch, sort of lacks aggression, some sort of hierarchy who's getting shots in crunch time. Who would you empower to be that guy if you're Rick? Or is it just not the Pacers team's way? And this was in reference to Dom, one of our big Pacers fans who's been coming on playback. And again, for those of you guys who haven't had a chance to hop over there, it's playback.tv/hoops tonight. We're going live after games and we take callers and we just have a fun time talking about hoops. And it would be a fun thing for you guys to check out if you haven't had a chance to hop over there yet. But anyway, Dom was just pointing out, like, man, it was just a reminder last night that like we just don't have that guy. Now, I would argue that in the future, that's something that the Pacers will have to address. And I think there's a couple of specific directions they can go there. Like, it's looking to me like Nesmith is the weakest point in that starting lineup, at least within this series. Nesmith has been brutal. He hasn't been able to guard either of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or J-Dub at any point in the series. He was the target down the stretch last night. He was the culprit for a lot of the foul calls that were killing the Pacers down the stretch. You want a guy like Ben Mathurin to be able to slot into that spot and be able to defend and do all the things that Nesmith does while bringing some more of that off the dribble, get to his spots type of pop. He's younger. He's a few years away. That's a more realistic internal option. I don't think the Pacers can afford to let Ben walk or do anything that involves him potentially leaving the team because he is the one guy that has the upside on the roster to become that type of shot maker. The NBA Finals are here. This is your last chance to bet on the NBA until next season. And DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is pulling out all the stops to make this a finals to remember. One team will be crowned champ, and the other will be lost to history. Who you got winning it all? Put your hoops expertise to the test. All season long, DraftKings has been the go-to spot for NBA player props, and that doesn't stop now. Who's going to carry their team to the chip? Try placing a bet on your personal MVP to drop 30, 40, or maybe even over 50. Ready to place your own bet? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, lock in your bets, and finish the season as a winner. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Don't miss your last chance to bet on the NBA this season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HOOPS. That's HOOPS. That's code HOOPS for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Now, in the short term, it's got to be Pascal Siakam. When I rewatched the fourth quarter, there was one play where they actually went to Siakam to try to initiate offense. It was an ISO, kind of like an attack of ball pressure off the top of the key. He beat his man with a move going towards the left, and when he got into the lane, he kind of got out of whack and a little out of control, which is what happens against good ball pressure. And he tried to spin over his left shoulder to throw a kick-out pass to an open shooter on the right wing. And Alex Caruso had left that guy and threw an aggressive double team, and he came in flying with both arms up, and he got a deflection and forced a turnover on Pascal Siakam. It was an ugly play, but the bigger takeaway there is that was the only play in the fourth quarter where they looked to Siakam to initiate offense. Now, where I get frustrated by that is like, would it have mattered? Probably not. Oklahoma City is the better team, in my opinion. I think that will continue to bear out over the course of the next 2 or 3 games of the series. But Indy does have a chance to win this series. Their chance is in these situations where Oklahoma City really tightens the screws, that we know Indiana's defense can do damage to Oklahoma City. I think that's something they did a lot of damage to Oklahoma City's offense last night. But when Oklahoma City really tightens the screws the way they do, they have to find a way for reliable offense. And like, here's the thing. Tyrese is not going to be able to shake free when Oklahoma City really locks in. Andrew Nembhard's not going to be able to do much better than a pretty tough step back mid-ranger when everything gets tight for Oklahoma City at the end of the game. Pascal Siakam is the one guy who has a true physical advantage to where if you run action for him to get him the ball on the block against a smaller defender, he's going to be able to get to that right shoulder fadeaway, and it's a shot that has a physical reliability to it, unlike some of these small guards and some of their attempts to get shots off against these elite perimeter defenders. So to me, in this series, if they end up in that situation again, they have to make a more intentional effort to just run like, think of it like this: run it out of action if you want to, but just have Tyrese Halliburton run like, a pick and pop with Miles Turner at the top of the key, where Miles pops to the left corner and run basically a cross screen for Siakam off of the block towards that same block that Miles Turner's on that side. Have Miles Turner throw the post entry. That way you have Miles Turner's man further away from the basket. You have smaller players and help. Now Siakam's got the ball on the block. You can run the same thing on either block, but basically get Siakam an opportunity to get a deeper post catch. The idea of running the cross screen is if you run the cross screen, it gets Siakam's defender into trail position, which allows you a better chance at a post up. If they switch it, just have the cross screener be one of the smalls, like involving Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? If Shai is the guy that's in that cross screen, if they switch it and Shai tries to front the post, we saw a couple examples of them try to force that pass over the top, and Shai ended up getting the deflection. All you have to do is do a better job of sealing and then swing the ball back towards the middle, and then Siakam can seal and create a good angle there for you to throw that pass in. But there was no intentional effort to get the ball to Siakam against mismatches, and that is, if you have to come up with a reliable half-court action, something that's going to guaranteed get you a decent look in a big spot in this series, I think they've got to lean on Siakam in the post a little bit more than they've leaned.